Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Congregational United Church of Christ on this shortest day of the year and the fourth Sunday of Advent. This is our moment in our program for announcements. Are there announcements, Jan?
We still have a few tags left on the giving tree. I think there's 4 or 5 there. So if you haven't had an opportunity to take a tag or two, or have already done some and want to do some more, you've got all of next week to get it done, and we probably won't be delivering until the end of the year or maybe right after the first of the year. So please take a look at those tags and help yourself if you can help us out there. The Advent boxes, 23 have already been delivered. We've got 2 more out here, and so if anybody else still wants to participate, please do so, and those will be delivered after Christmas because they're closed this next week. On the January fellowship list, we still have a couple openings, so if you want to get started right in the new year, we'll gladly have you sign up for any of those. Thank you.
Any others? Pastor Brett.
Meaningful Advent, everyone. I'm not yet ready for Merry Christmas, but meaningful Advent, I am there. So, happy Advent to you all. We're thankful on this last Sunday of Advent to be present and to learn with one another. Today, we're going to be having a polylogue. So you'll have an opportunity. You'll see the text of the birth narrative according to Matthew in your bulletin. And so we'll be talking about that, so you can look through that. If you get through that, and you'd also like some other things, I posted on our Facebook page also like a commentary of the entire passage too, but that might take you a little while to read through that one. So, but in any case, we look forward to that. But welcome to you all, and those of you who are online as well, to First Congregational United Church of Christ. We are a community of faith where you matter. You matter no matter who you are. You matter no matter what your abilities or disabilities may be, your successes or your failures. For your worth is in who you are, not what you can or can't do. You matter as a transgender person, a female, a male, a non-binary person, or even one whose gender identity is none of the above. You matter whether you are an immigrant, a Native American, a citizen, a refugee, or a visitor or transplant from another nationality. For we are all the children of God and are created equally in our worth. You are a person of inestimable worth who we believe needs to be loved just as you need to love others. We all matter here, for we are a community who values all persons, no exceptions. I've got a list here of Christmas readers. And so if you are willing to be a reader, I'm just going to pass this around. So I'll start with Ellen here, and she can move it. Oh, you're already on there, so I'll go back here, and then you can just pass it to one another as yourself. But if you're willing to read on Christmas Eve, please sign up. Thank you.
And while that's being circulated, if you would please join with me in the responsive centering our souls, the birth of the divine. Spirit of hope and expectation, faith and preparation, love and peace, and joy and celebration. We gather on this fourth Sunday of Advent, eagerly awaiting for the birth of the sacred into our lives and world. Like Mary, we each carry within us that which is divine. We to deliver to the world. Will we face the possibilities of being judged for letting the ideals and virtues of Advent permeate our thoughts, dreams, and ambitions? Mary did not know the response of Joseph, her family, her society, and perhaps her own insecurities to her pregnancy. Joseph, when confronted by that which was divine, yielded to it. May we have the courage and strength to do the same. Let our love of you and others incarnate that sacred presence in our spirits, that we may be like Joseph, respond with forgiveness, reaffirmation of relationship, and peace. Teach us how to let your Holy Spirit invade our bodies and souls, and we may give birth to the sacred in our thoughts and practices. May it be so. Our opening hymn is All Earth is Waiting. It is in the black hymnal, number 121. We will sing verses 1 through 3. Number 121, verses 1 through 3. You're a little early, Todd. So. Our Advent reading today relates to the candle of joy and celebration. Ask someone what they most wish for themselves, their families, or their friends, and you are likely to hear them respond that what they most want is happiness. Everyone wants to be happy and wants for their loved ones to be happy. The problem with getting happiness, however, is that many do not know how to get happiness, if even they know what true happiness is. Happiness is not the same as pleasure and having fun. This is where many go wrong and find themselves on a hopeless detour of enjoying life to the fullest without having any true fulfillment from life while they are enjoying it. True happiness is about having spiritual joy in our lives. It is about celebrating goodness rather than pleasure. The way to this truer sense of happiness, this joy and celebration we have when we dedicate our lives to goodness, is discovered through living in accordance to the virtues and principles we have discussed on the previous 3 Sundays of Advent. We need hope and expectation to create dreams of a better world and to motivate us to act on those dreams. We need faith and preparation to work towards those dreams in daily living, giving us the ability to endure and overcome the obstacles along the journey of faith and preparing us for living a more perfect and virtuous life. We need love and peace in order to realize those dreams. Love and peace are not only the goals we strive for, but the means by which we live in order to reach those goals. When we live our lives by hope and expectation, by faith and preparation, and by love and peace, we discover the sort of joy and cause for celebration that give our life meaning and fulfillment, and not merely pleasure and satisfaction. Giving up our own plans and ideas of how to discover happiness in our lives and living according to God's plan that asks us to give of ourselves for the sake of others, to not pursue happiness itself, but to pursue goodness, and to not seek out the pleasure of life, but the virtues of life and the irony of finding human fulfillment, spiritual joy, and the true cause for giving us reason to celebrate the meaning and purpose of our lives. Our joy in living in accordance with these virtues is not mere happiness, but the expression of a soul that has found its true spirit. Our souls celebrate their true purpose in this world by living out the virtues of hope, faith, love, peace, and joy. These are the virtues that give our lives meaning, for they are the manifestation of a good life that God has planned for all of God's family and loved ones. To live the life that God has planned for us is not only a reason for having joy and celebration, but is the way in which we can discover that dimension of spiritual joy and celebration. God bless us as we live by the virtues that will bring us that joy and celebration. May we make it so.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me share. Talk a little bit about the three wise men and the concept of reverence today. You know, I think a lot of us have probably done a lot of Christmases, right? We've racked up a few. And maybe I can't say anything that you haven't already heard, but I want to look at it from the Latin American perspective because they take Christmas pretty serious too. This week, I asked my students, and I was really surprised. Almost all my students are Latino. They come from different countries in Latin America. And I said, do you guys ever talk about Santa Claus? I was surprised. They were like just a couple out of 100. Santa Claus is not a big deal, but they focus on some things that we don't talk much about. One of them was last week we talked about Mary, someone who could ponder, treasure, stand in awe of this gift. You know, a lot of times we talk about the baby, we don't talk about the mom. Latin America, they talk a lot about the mom. And the mom who is in this turmoil of being a refugee, and just having a horrible, someone's trying to chase her down and kill her baby. I mean, and here she is treasuring the moment. There's something we can learn from that, right? I want to talk about the three wise men today. You know, these guys came from a long ways. It wasn't an easy time to hike across deserts without the camping gear that we have today. Even if you had the camping gear, it'd still be hard, right? And if you look at what they arrived to, we're talking about a baby, right? What's the big deal? There's babies being born all around the world every single day. What's the big deal, right? And not only that, this baby's being born in a barn among animals with a homeless family. And what do these guys do when they show up at the barn? They find goodness. They have searched for treasure and they have found it in a strange place. And brings me to this topic of reverence. You know, can we find reverence in the most ordinary, mundane, poor situation possible, right? I don't think a lot of people find much reverence for people who are homeless or in that kind of a situation, right? Having a baby out of wedlock. Think of the judgmentalness there. These three guys found this baby and this family as something special. You know, and I think it's a great lesson for us. Can we find the sacred, the specialness in just the most mundane of places? That's the story. In Latin America, the kids don't put out their stockings, they put out their shoes, and they put hay in the shoes. Any idea why they put the hay in the shoes? For the camels. The wise men's camels need to eat. And they leave little goodies for the kids. But I want to talk a little bit, just real quick, about something I came across about reverence. Her name is Barbara Taylor Brown. She said, by definition, reverence is the recognition of something greater than ourselves, something that's beyond our control and our understanding. Reverence is to stand in awe and to say, wow. Reverence is to helps us to get past ourselves so that we can begin to see the dignity in everyone. If we can't feel awe, and we think that nothing is bigger than us, then how can we respect those who we feel are below us? So how do we show up with reverence? Well, let's look at the old wise men. How did they show up? Here they are. They showed up at the barn. Did they try to get that right picture and try to post it on their Instagram as fast as they could? They just sat. They just sat and looked at that baby. Wow. So Christmas, isn't it about wow? Hope you find some wow. There's wow everywhere. Even here, there's wow. There's wow just out on the other side of that wall. Hopefully we can all find it and experience wow. I was going to have those kids up here today, and sometimes even the kids rush around a lot and miss the wow. But the kids are probably a little better than us at capturing wow. I hope we find that this year. So, yeah.
Wow. I have reverence for what you just said. Indeed. Thank you, Todd. As we come to our time of prayer, we remember those who we need to pray for, as well as the joys that we have to share with one another, and also any acts of compassion or kindness that we have witnessed or heard about or actually participated in ourselves. So if you have any of those things, please raise your hand and Ellen will get a mic to you.
Michael got a call this week from Bob Nicholson. Phyllis fell again. So I think their time for coming to church is going to be rather limited. He thinks it's time to quit coming to church, and she thinks she doesn't want to quit coming to church. So if they decide that that's not going to be their thing anymore, we'll need to do what we can to keep in touch with them. Send a note, send a card, do something so that she still feels that she's attached up here. I haven't talked to George Owings, but I believe he's home from the hospital in Omaha, and now he's got 6 to 8 weeks to go through this intravenous antibiotic to get rid of the infection, and then hopefully can go back in for his second surgery. And the last thing, my stepsister's husband passed away this week out in Oregon, and he's been going downhill for about 2 years, and this was the time. So ask for prayers for her, Betsy.
Thank you. We'll keep all of those folks in our prayers.
We'd ask for prayers for Rex Runquist, who is a friend, and many people here know him. On Tuesday, he was walking in his neighborhood, was struck by a car, was in the hospital in the ICU for 3 days, had brain bleeds, serious concussion, is out of ICU now, is on heavy pain meds because of the discomfort. No brain bleed anymore, and he's getting better, but it's going to be a long road for him to get back to himself, and I'd ask for prayers for him.
Thank you.
And his family.
Yes, Maria is his wife as well. They have come to our solidarity meetings very faithfully, and so definitely keep them in our prayers. I'll mention that after the march and rally yesterday, there were a couple people who drove those of us who marched back to our cars. And in the car that I was in, the man who was driving, we stopped at a stoplight, and there was a man sitting over, and he had a sign, and he didn't have a hat on. Or anything, and so the driver reached back and pulled out like a toboggan type hat, and said, "Would you like to have the hat?" Which the guy was really glad to do so. So these just acts of kindness and compassion, we need to speak up when we see them and tell each other, because it made me feel really good to see that generosity. I have an extra hat, so I'm going to give you that hat. Just a little vignette from yesterday here in Sioux City.
So many of you know Beth Harms, who has been attending church. Her mother passed away about a week and a half ago. And so I would ask for prayers for Beth. Mother's name is Betty. She's lost her husband last spring and now her mother. So both in the same calendar year. And I know that's going